you think of when you think of comics? In my experience, most people tend to think about comic books with superheroes, which is understandable, as the golden age of comics did begin with the first Superman comic book in 1938. But today, the medium includes so much more than that. I have read some incredible comics and plan on reading many more. Now, I will be using comics as an umbrella term for both comic books and graphic novels. And I understand the differences, but I'm going to use the term comics for simplicity. Unfortunately, I feel that today, the general public still doesn't see comics as a valid literary medium. Most people think it to be juvenile and not worth their time, but this is certainly not the case. Since the modern revolution of comics, there have been some incredible works created, including Blankets by Craig Thompson, Saga by Brian K. Vaughan, and Blue is the Warmest Color by Julie Morrow, just to name a few. Now, a little bit of history before we continue. The modern era of comics really began with the publication of Mouse by Art Spiegelman in 1980, updating the concept of comics from superheroes to more complex stories. Previously, most people considered comics to be childish and silly, but with Mouse, a story depicting life in internment camps, people began to see that more emotional and hard-hitting stories could work in the medium of comics. A further example of this change is Watchmen, which was produced by DC Comics, but has been described as a skewering of the traditional superhero genre and an examination of the nature of power. These changes in theme and length caused a new consideration into what types of stories could fit into the medium of comics. Now, what is it that we all love about comics? And what types of stories tend to benefit from a more visual medium? I recently saw in my local bookstore comic adaptations of Shakespeare's plays, like Hamlet and A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I thought this was such a great idea. I know every high school English class loved to make the students read plays, such as Shakespeare's. But I always thought that was a half-assed way to experience them. Plays are meant to be watched, not read. And I don't think you can get the same understanding out of reading the scripts like a book. I thought putting the plays in a more visual medium of comics was such a great way to bridge that gap. And I hope teachers start using these to teach Shakespeare instead of just his scripts. For my own writing, I have been thinking about developing one of my stories into the comic medium, rather than just a plain text novel. My story idea encompasses the protagonist discovering ballroom dancing and eventually entering a ballroom dance competition. I won't give anything else away just yet to avoid spoilers. But I was thinking, with the movement and visuals of ballroom dance, that this story might fit better as a comic than a novel. One of my favorite comics, Heartstoppers, has some great visuals. The style in which they convey scenes and emotions with the unique frame structure really heightens the story more than if it was in just a text-based medium. They can convey so much emotion in one frame more effectively and immediately than could feasibly be done with just description. I'm hopeful that more writers will branch out into the medium of comics, and that we can start a new revolution of comics to help the general public to understand how incredible the medium can be for a lot of stories. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite comics are, so I can get some good recommendations, and what types of stories you would like to see branching into the comics medium. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.